Hi there, it's Chris from HPX Media, and I wanted to chat with you super quickly today about the new legislation that Canada is rolling out in regards to privacy policies, privacy documentation, and websites, and how websites are collecting information and how we need to be disclosing that to our users in a way that is accurate and appropriate. So, firstly, I'd like to just say that, of course, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a web designer, but I am definitely not a lawyer. So none of what I'm saying here today is meant to be, legal advice by any means. It's my goal here today is to make you aware that there are some changes, and it's going to affect your business and your website. And you need to be aware of these changes so that you can ensure that you are compliant. And there's some directions I can get you pointed in, but the reality is, whatever I suggest here, you're going to have to explore it on your own, or with your lawyer, to ensure that whatever solution you end up choosing is most appropriate for your business, and of course, is making sure that you're not left liable in any way. Okay, so I've got this web page up here that goes into what some of this information is. And I haven't even read this thoroughly either. There's a lot of information here that we all really need to dive into, but the rolling of this out really made me question what are we required to have as website owners? What legal documentation do we need? Because there's no shortage of legal documents that you can have for your website, whether it's a cookie policy or a disclaimer or acceptable use or terms and conditions. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And as a small business owner, how do we know what of those documents we need? And so this was the thought that I was having. So I've spent a considerable amount of time trying to get to the bottom of this, because I know that when I reach out to my clients about these changes, this is going to be a question that they're going to ask me. And honestly, even for my own business, I want to know what the answer is to that. So I've started doing a lot of research, and holy heck, is that dry. And it's incredibly frustrating because it's very hard to get answers. And there's different legal documentation providers that I have reached out to, and I have reached out to various lawyers, and it seems like it's a very specialized branch of law, and it's very hard to get answers from people. So your best bet, yeah, is to go to your lawyer specifically, is what I'm learning. But you do have a couple of options in terms of where you're getting this documentation from. And so I just wanted to chat with you today about what these options are. Again, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not really telling you to do one thing or another. I'm just giving you some options as to what maybe here are a couple good roads that you could look at in this journey that is creating legal documentation for your website. So yes, so this is definitely something that's going to affect small business owners, and is absolutely something that we're going to look into. So the reality is, you don't really have an option to do nothing where this stuff is concerned. Even Google is making a privacy policy page a requirement. So, can you ignore all of this and do nothing? I guess you could. What can happen out of that? I obviously can't. I can't comment on that. But I, as a web developer, I would recommend that you take some steps and learn a little bit about this, so you can ensure that your business is properly protected. So what I'm going to show you today are a couple of options that you can look at that might get you on the right track where all this legal documentation is concerned. And this is something we can tag team together, in that once you get that documentation, you can give it to me and I can get it on your website. Some of you have websites that you can edit and add that page yourself, and you are more than welcome to do that. Or if you don't have that, or you just couldn't be bothered and you'd rather me do it for you, I'm happy to do that for you. Now, in terms of creating these pages, this is definitely not something I can do for you. And I know that I'm going to get asked that question. When we have a copywriter on staff who's created content for some of your websites, that copy has come from doing research with you and working with you to create that content. This is a legal document, and we can't create this for you any more than we could create your bill of sale or a contract that you might use with your clients. So the creation of this content is definitely something that has to come from you. And even though this is incredibly dry, and I know that you would rather go and, I don't know, sock shopping than do this. It's definitely something that needs to get done, but we can get you on the right track here, and hopefully make this task a little bit less onerous and boring. Okay, so there are two documentation providers that I'm going to point out to you today. I'm not saying that you need to use these, but I'm showing you them as options that might be something that is useful for you. So one of them is called websitepolicies.com, and they are a Canadian company. I believe they're based out of Toronto. And they offer 6 different documents. I thought it was more than that, but maybe it's 6. And then you have another option here, Termageddon, and they are based out of the States. However, they do have Canadian specific policies for privacy policy and terms and conditions. So I'm going to create a separate video for what does it look like to go and get these set up. So I'm not going to cover that in this video, but what I want to mention to you is the difference between these two providers. Either way, you're going to be spending a little bit of money to get these documents, which probably doesn't come as a surprise. Termageddon is a really interesting provider in that you pay an annual fee, and then you go through the questionnaire to get the forms, to get the pages created. And then as legislation and things change, they automatically change that behind the scenes. And because the legal documentation is added to your page through a link, it automatically gets updated. It's a little bit nerdy, but the point is it's a more of a set and forget kind of thing. I mean, ideally, you should really be reviewing these pages every year, because you might change how you do things, or you might add a different whatever to your website that allows you to collect information. So you should be reviewing this annually. But in terms of, you don't have to follow legislation to make sure that, they've updated this, and, have to go and redo your privacy policies. So that's what's really nice about Termageddon. This other website, websitepolicies.com, I believe they will send you an email when legislation changes and they've updated their documentation. And I think what you'll do is you'll have to log in and recopy out that text and then paste it into your site. And that's one of the differences between website policies and Termageddon is Termageddon will automatically update for you, whereas website policies, it'll generate that text, that legal text for you, and you have to copy that and paste that onto your website. And then they'll send an email letting you know that some legislation has changed and you'll need to update your page. And then you just come here and then recopy that paste and recopy that text and pop it back into your website. So both options are they seem to be good. Again, I'm not a lawyer. Can I speak to the quality of what their output is? I'm not a lawyer, so I can't comment on that. Even for my own business, it's how do I know that what these sites are generating is appropriate? And the answer to that really is whatever these sites generate for you, you should be running past your business lawyer to have them go through it and make sure it's adequate. And that's kind of the happy medium between all of this. You can go to your lawyer and have them generate all this stuff from scratch. But we've all seen privacy policy pages and terms and conditions pages that are a mile long, and having your lawyer create that from scratch is obviously going to be rather costly. So for me, for my business, I'm generating the documents on websites like this, and then I'm going to have my lawyer take a look at them. Your lawyer can also help you with knowing which of these policies do you need? Do you need acceptable use policy? Do you need a refund policy? Do you need a cookie policy? And do you need a disclaimer? And the answer is you probably don't need all of these, but how do you know which ones do you need? The privacy policy is definitely a for sure, but do you need terms and conditions? I'm not 100% sure. So your lawyer can answer that for you. So you can follow up with, I've got a couple other videos coming down the pipe, and they're going to be more tutorial based videos. You know, how to create your legal documentation using this site. It's just going to show you what it's like to use this website. And same for Termageddon. I'll create a video that shows what it's like to walk through that. And once you've done this with either one of these sites, you're going to get either a piece of code or a paragraph. Some of you have websites that you can edit on your own, and you can create those pages and copy paste that text in there. Or some of you have older sites that don't have that ability, or you just simply don't want to do it and you'd rather have me do it. Either way, I'm happy to do this for you. So if that's the case, just reach out, just give me your documentation, and I'll get it popped into your site for you. Again, this is some super dry stuff, and I do recommend that you chat with your lawyer about it, just to make sure you're doing everything to ensure you're covered. I hope that this has shed a little bit of light on some of the changes and get you pointed in a direction that makes sense for you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, or perhaps more appropriately to your lawyer. But you know, if I can answer anything, I'm happy to try. All right, best of luck, and have a great day.